No, it's been a tremendous test match. The Indian supporters always bring a huge amount of entertainment and noise. They've been fantastic throughout the 5 days, but so have the Indian test match team. That's a fantastic test victory. It really is, because they've been questioned, particularly on day one, and then they came back on day two with the ball in hand. I thought, and said it at the time, that 2-90, it felt so light from England with that first innings effort. And then we know with this Indian side, when you get them on a pitch that's not offering a great deal of movement and swing and seam, and they just know how to play, and they just batted beautifully in the second innings. And I thought today, Aggers, that is as good a last day bowling performance that we've seen for a long time. That was high class bowling today.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, we talked a lot about how jaded England have looked, and they have, and they have bowled a lot of overs. It's not really a criticism so much, and Jimmy Anderson's 39 years old, for goodness sake. But I just thought the energy that India found today from their bowling was remarkable.
Yeah, I'll be honest. For a day and a half, this was an English Test wicket where it moved around a bit and England competed. When the ball's swinging around and with the bat in hand, it wasn't swinging and seaming. It was just doing a little bit when England batted. As soon as it became a Test wicket that you get overseas, so no swing, no seam, little bit of spin, you needed a bit of pace, you needed variation, you needed batters to just bat time and go for the big score. As soon as it became that kind of wicket, England have been very poor. Whilst ever it was an English wicket on days one and a bit of day two, probably half day two, very competitive, but I'm afraid the old Test kind of deficiencies came to roost this week. Catching, Aggers, we've said it for a long. The catching in this Test match team is just not good enough. The bowling, unless it's swinging and seaming, 4 bowlers at around 80 odd miles an hour. Great when it's moving, as good as any when the ball's swinging and seaming, like we saw in the first innings, like we saw at Headingley. But in the second innings, they just looked to gallop short. And with the bat in hand, that 290 was too light. And in the second innings, when they're put under a huge amount of pressure against a very good Indian bowling attack, they came short, because they've just not been able to manage the pressure with the bat in hand for a while in Test match cricket. They're all right when they're ahead of the game. 78 all out at Headingley, they're absolutely fine. But when the pressure really comes in the last innings of the game, this England batting line once again has fell short. But I will say, I think it's been down to outstanding bowling today. Some of those balls by Bumrah, that spell after lunch, I think that's the spell of the summer by a country mile.
Yeah, I can see Joe Root. It's possible that we'll get him early here. He's coming out in our direction. We're going to coordinate it with our friends from television as well. So they just need to be ready to go here, because Joe Root is coming. Hello, Joe. With 2 seconds, just going to make sure that TV's ready to roll as well. Are we good to go? Well, Joe, how do you feel about that today?
Sorry, Alex, can you come back?
Yeah, I'll cover. What's my 2 metre distance? Will that do? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Well, what's your reaction to that today?
Yeah, it's frustrating. You look at the start of the day, and all 3 results were definitely on the table. And I thought we set a platform to still go on and win the game. In that first session, and then there was a brilliant spell of bowling from Bumrah, which really busted it open for India, and we never really managed to find our feet and get back into the game and get something from it. So I think also got to look at the whole game. There's a number of things that we did quite nicely, but we did miss chances. Whether that be with the bat, first innings, could we have been a bit more ruthless and made that first innings lead a little bit more significant. And obviously our catching needs to keep looking to improve. So we'll do some learning. The good thing is we don't have too long to dwell on it. We can get straight back out there at Old Trafford and hopefully put a few runs right.
It's an exhausting series to watch. I don't know what it's like to play in. I mean, it's like a roller coaster.
It is. I mean, it's been a fantastic series. The cricket's been great. It's obviously you want to be on the right side of the results, but the quality of the cricket, I think, has been very high, and I expect the same at Old Trafford as well.
Yeah. The top 3, are you happy with the balance there now and the changes that you made?
Yeah, I think, look, it's in English conditions, it's quite hard to be consistent. We've got to keep striving to be as much as we can. I thought that partnership in the second innings there was brilliant, and we just got to keep looking to repeat that over and over again. It's 2 out of 3 times now, over 100 partnership between the two of them right at the top there. So hopefully they'll gain confidence from that, and we can take that into Old Trafford.
Tough on the bowlers. I mean, Could you go into a vital test match at Old Trafford without Jimmy Anderson? There's a lot of overs in his legs.
There is, and we've got to manage that well. It's something that we'll have to address when we get down there and see how all of the guys pull up. But it's been frustrating with the amount of injuries that we've had, the amount of cricket that we've had, and we're just going to have to manage it as best as we can.
Yeah. Is it a fun series to play in? I mean, it seems like it. It's hard. It's very competitive, but there's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on, but it's good, hard test cricket, and that's what you expect against one of the best sides in the world. So, we'll be right up for it again when we get up to Old Trafford, and we just got to make sure when those crunch moments come, we're better than we were in this game.
Thank you, Joe.
Cheers, Angus.
Talk to you again soon. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you. Virat Kohli will be out in a second. I can see him over there, so it's possible maybe they're going to do the main presentations first. So we'll wait on a minute. But Michael, any thoughts on what you heard from Joe Root there?
No, I think he was honest. I'm glad he mentioned catching. That's been a real problem for the Test match team for quite a while. A concern for me is it's not been a concern just this week, but the lack of pace in the attack. I remember a couple of years ago I thought England made a little bit of a point that they always wanted pace in the attack. At least one element of a quick bowler. Mark Wood could have played this week looking back at hindsight, but I guess England wanted to go with the same team and same attack that done so well for them at Headingley. But I do think this team, it's obvious when you get on a decent pitch, you need a little bit of something different than 80-odd miles an hour length deliveries. You need that variation, you need a bit of pace. The way that they operate spin in this Test team is a concern. I don't quite get the spin management. Jack Leach was magnificent in the winter. He's not bowled one ball this summer, Aggers. No. Left arm spinner must be all it's seeing to thinking what is my role with this England Test match team. The way that the spin was used in this match was a concern in that second innings, because it was quite clear it wasn't swinging and seaming, and yet England couldn't quite get to grips with when to bowl the spinner. And Moeen Ali didn't have a great game, but I don't think Joe had the best game in terms of managing spin. I thought he could have bowled himself a bit more, actually. It was just a little bit of an obvious sign that when it got flat, India started to play and England just looked a little bit short of ideas and also short of skill levels on those kind of wickets. And we've said that in the past, and again we'll keep saying it, but in the winter these are the kind of pitches, Aggers. These are the kind of pitches that England are going to have to play on. The ball won't be swinging and seaming, it'll be flat. We know that. Maybe in the pink ball game in Adelaide might move a bit, but the majority of the games in Australia, the ball will not be hooping around. It's how England get an attack over there to get 20 wickets, and also how are they going to get a batting unit that can withstand the pressure of relentless pace and consistency and variation, which Australia are going to throw at them, but also obviously what India are going to throw at them in a few days' time in Manchester.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, the game is over here. It's been a comprehensive victory for India. The celebrations are going on all around me, as you can hear. So that's what we're bringing you now. We've already heard from Joe Root. We'll hear from Virat Kohli in a moment. I can't see who the man of the match might be. No one obvious has appeared, because there are a few candidates for that, and I think most of them are Indian deep. Who do you think contributed? I guess we're going to look at Rohit Sharma, aren't we, for that 127?
I'll look at Rohit Sharma for sure, because again, India were behind at that point in time, and that opening partnership with KL Rahul, and especially that 100 from him, were very, very crucial, making sure that India get that par score or above par score in the second innings. And I look at this Indian team, and it's like every time when they've got their backs to the wall, they've performed well. They've performed under pressure. After that loss in the last Test match, they've bounced back. They've bounced back strongly. Again, that first innings, I'm sure they were disappointed with their batting performance in the first innings. They're just coming out there in the second and scoring those runs. Someone like Rishabh, the maturity with which he batted in that second innings, that's something that I think he needs to, ponder over, think about it, the way he approached that innings. Because he's a much better batter than what he's shown in this series, apart from that last innings. I mean, every time it seems like when the move's moving around a bit, he wants to just go and be ultra aggressive. I mean, he still has a very good defensive game. He needs to trust his defensive games on surfaces where the ball's doing a bit, which till now he hasn't. So I think, so from that second innings, I thought India batted well. Shardul again, what a huge positive Shardul's been for India. I mean, he picks up those crucial wickets. and scoring runs. I mean, two half centuries this Test match, and both of them were extremely crucial. And when you're talking about man of the match performances, I don't think Shardul Thakur is too far away from it.
I wonder what they'll be like 2-1 up at Manchester to win the game. I mean, you know what I mean? With a bit of pressure on, a bit of excitement, all of that at stake. I mean, could it get a bit excitable, do you think?
Yes, they can, but so far in this series, it's always been the team behind actually performing better and winning the next game. I mean, it was, India winning the second one, then England comes back and wins it, and then India again comes back after a loss and wins it. I hope that trend does not continue in Manchester.
What do you think, Michael?
Oh, it's very similar to the 2019 Ashes series, where a very similar kind of result pattern happened. The Aussies went in front, then England won it at Headingley, and then Australia bounced back at Old Trafford. England have got to make sure that they bounce back at Old Trafford on this game. It was at the Oval in the last Test match that they did in the Ashes in 2019. I do worry that if the pitch is okay, I just look at this England team. It looks to me like they need plenty of movement. They need lots of seam and swing to absolutely guarantee they're going to get 20 wickets. Against this Indian side, it seems to me that they need a little bit of a helping hand in terms of the conditions. They got that at Headingley. It was a good toss to have lost there. India are a better team, Aggers. That's the fact of the matter. And I don't even think they've played the best team yet, because Ashwin hasn't played. If they decide to play Ashwin at Old Trafford, where we know it might take some spin, I just wonder whether they will think about the two spin options in Manchester. I think we'll have to wait and see for the conditions. But India are a better Test match team. They've proven that over the last year or so. They've been to Australia and won there with pretty much their third string team by the end of it. So it doesn't surprise me, the results at this minute, but I am surprised from 120 for 7 in that first innings that England have lost quite convincingly in the end.
Yeah, there's a very, very long interview being conducted of Joe Root here, and we haven't had Virat Kohli on yet, so we'll just have to wait and see how long this goes on for. But Rohit Sharma, I can see there standing there now, so he's clearly the man of the match. But there's all sorts of inquisitions going on here. I suppose for India, we talk about Rahani's place. I mean, he's slipped down the order there deep. If we got to the bottom of why Jadeja was promoted, perhaps I'll slip that to Virat Kohli if we get to talk to him. But any thoughts on that?
Listen, he hasn't looked good. We've all seen it. But I just get a feeling that he will get another opportunity. I think India might go in with the same combination with Ajinkya there, and that's that. I think they might just do that. Even though we've discussed this before, Ajinkya's look woefully out of form. Not just out of runs, but out of form as well. So yeah, I mean, vice captain of the Indian side, the whole series. I mean, the last game of the series, he's played the other 4 matches, so maybe he would want to continue with it.
Yeah. Well, the captain himself and his form. I mean, he made a very good 50. He got 44. So he looked very determined. I mean, do you think he's anywhere closer to getting some of that talk being put away now, or is it only going to be when he gets the 100 that people start muttering about his lack of runs?
I think he needs 100. I mean, a player of his class and his kind of the runs that he scored, the performances that he's had, I think for them the benchmark is obviously a lot higher than mere mortals. So obviously for him the benchmark would be 100. It's not just about getting 50s and all. Talking about Virat Kohli here.
Yeah, I guess I'll say this. I thought he gave a captaincy masterclass today. I thought he was absolutely magnificent.
He was certainly busy.
I watched every move and I thought he was unbelievable. He was always ahead of the game. He left it a bit of a while to get Jadeja on because he wanted that rough to grow. He always is on top of which batter's coming out, get the seamers back on. Every little move, the field settings, everything about his energy, getting the crowd going. I thought he gave a real tactical masterclass out there today. Look, it's easy when you've got a bowling attack that's got so much venom, lots of different variations, someone like Jasprit Bumrah, but you as the captain still have to put the fielders in the right places, put the bowlers on at the right times, change fields at the right time, I thought he was absolutely fantastic today.
Yeah. Let's mention Ollie Pope, shall we? He had a bit of a mixed game, frankly. I mean, he got a really nice 81 in the first innings. He got, well, I suppose anyone can get cleaned up, can't they, early on in their innings. But has he given you a reminder of what he's got, Michael?
Yeah, he's a good player. You know, I think he'll learn from the week that in the first innings when he was playing so well, you have to make it count. 81's not enough. You know, 290 wasn't enough, and if Ollie had got the 130, 150, England would have got that 350, 380, which they should have done on that wicket. And again, a lesson to him as a young player that get your runs when you're out there, because, you know, in the second innings you might get a good one. And he did. He gets a ball that flies through him. He's got 2 to his name, and he'll be in that dressing room disappointed that he hasn't capitalised on how well he played this week with a big score. Your role in Test match cricket as a batter is when you get in to get, I think Gucci, what's he call them, the daddy hundreds or the granddaddy.
Yes.
You've got to get big scores, because against quality teams and bowlers you will get low scores, so you've got to put them in the bank when you're playing nicely and the conditions are in your favour. Get that big score, because those low scores look after you a little bit when you've got that big score already in the bank. And, you know, going to Old Trafford, going to Australia in the winter, it's not going to get much easier, because the next 6 Test matches against high class bowling attacks.
I suppose we've got to mention Jos Buttler, haven't we? I mean, his little girl was born, I think, yesterday. I mean, is that a decision that England make, or is it a decision that Jos Buttler makes? How does that work? Would they try and get him back in the side?
Well, if he's available, and you know, and I'm sure he will be, I think he comes straight back in if he's England's number 1 wicketkeeper batter. I guess the next year, if he's already, and I don't know this, but if he's let the management know that potentially he won't be available for the Ashes because of these times that we're in, well, he can't play at Old Trafford, because you don't want to be playing someone that's not going to be playing the next Test match. I think that's unfair to just nip him for that game. But look, if he's going to Australia and he's available, yeah, I think he has to come straight back in for Old Trafford.
Yeah, what do you think, Deep? It's interesting. I mean, Pope, who I suppose is his replacement, got that very good 80.
But I think it's going to be Ollie Pope for me. And he's looked good. I mean, he should be there going to Australia as well, because he's the next guy in. The future of English batting to a certain extent. So yeah, and he's looked good. I mean, he's batted so well. You've got to give him another opportunity. And yeah, that's what I think. And I think Ollie Pope's looked really good. He's compact. He'll get those hundreds as well. I mean, looking at him bat, you know that there is a very bright future.
It's waiting for Virat Kohli to finish another extensive interview. It's like Prime Minister's questions out here at the moment.
Wow. Oh, he's finished. I can see he's finished.
I think he's finished that one. So let's see if we can wave him over here now and see if he'll come and talk to us. He's exhausted after that. He's putting his arm around Rohit Sharma, who's going to go and also face the Inquisition, and I think our old friends. Yes, here we go. So this is nice. We'll get to speak to Virat Kohli. The spectators down here, we're very excited to see him. I just hope he can hear me. We had a bit of a problem with Joe Root, and it was a bit difficult to hear him. But he's just coming in, applauding. I hope you can hear me, Virat.
A little bit.
How was that?
That was unbelievable. I mean, it was. Look, we won.
It's ridiculous.
We won at Lords as well. You know, we love being written off, and I think a lot of people after Leeds really stood up and said, well, will India be able to come back? And we've shown time and again that we are a top side. We've been at the top for a while now, and that's because of the belief and passion we have in the group. And this win, if not more, is as special as Lords.
It's a special win. I don't know how you go on stats, Virat, but that's the first time India have been put in, bowled out for under 200, and then won the game. So it's actually quite a special victory.
Well, as I said, this team and this group of players has done a lot of firsts, and that has to be acknowledged. You know, that can't be ignored. If you focus on stats and numbers and personal performances, you cannot do things like this. If you focus on team goals and wanting to win at any cost, then you get special victories like this. And this group of players, they just want to win badly, and they find ways to win, and that's been the hallmark of our side.
You're obviously very pleased with your quick bowlers. They've worked hard, and not just in this match, but previously, and they put a lot of effort in there.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you know, Ishant wasn't playing. Shami wasn't playing. Shami's probably our most attacking bowler, most lethal over the last couple of years. Bumrah was, leading the attack. Siraj had a bit of a niggle. Umesh stepped up, bowled beautifully. Shardul got us beautiful breakthroughs. Jadeja bowled brilliantly in the rough. So look, it's, as I said, this group of players is looking for an opportunity to step onto the field, being proud about playing Test cricket, being proud about playing for India, and just finding ways to win.
And you, Virat, a very nice half century and a 44. Is that enough?
Well, we are 2-1 up. So as I said, people on the outside can keep focusing on stats and whatnot. At this stage of my career, I don't need to prove anything to anyone. For me, it's about leading this team in the right direction. People who are obsessed with stats will probably remain there for a long period of time.
I'm not obsessed with stats either.
We keep moving forward. For me, I'm getting into important partnerships for the team, and that for me has always been more important than focusing on how many I got. As long as I keep doing that job for the team, I'm absolutely happy.
Well, I guess you'd love to make a match-winning innings in Manchester, because to win the series here will mean a lot to you.
Well, if the opportunity is there, I've always taken a lot of pride in stepping up and doing the job for the team. So if the team's in trouble and I'm the guy who has to put up that big score on the board, I'll be absolutely motivated to do so.
Enjoy the evening, Virat. Thanks for talking to us. We'll see you at Manchester. There we go. It's always good fun interviewing Virat Kohli. Anyway, there he goes. So anything from there? Deep, how about that? I mean, he does talk very passionately, doesn't he?
Oh yes, and that passion, that feeling that he's got is so infectious, and that's exactly what I was talking about. This team under his captaincy. One thing you will not miss is the intensity there. Whether they're leading in the game or they're behind in the game, the intensity levels are always very high. And as I mentioned, I mean, every time India's got their back to the walls, I mean, they've come out fighting and have done well. So they need to just continue with the same intensity now that they've won here, and need to carry it forward and take it to Manchester as well, to Old Trafford as well, because this is going to be a huge. If India goes on to win this series, it's going to be massive. One more concern it would be fitness. As far as fitness is concerned with Rohit and Pujara, it was Rohit's knee and Pujara's ankle.
Deepa, I know those two. I'm pretty sure that they're the type that possibly feeling's not at the top of their agenda. I think they'll be there at Old Trafford, don't worry.
Yeah, they'll get strapped up, and especially not after the innings that Rohit played in this game.
Just the last one, Michael, then I'm going to hand it back to Simon up there. Joe Root was quite interesting. I mean, there are some times in defeat you look in a captain's eyes and they're really sort of angry or hurting or really down and so on. He wasn't like that, and I'm just wondering whether this is a defeat that England actually can come bouncing back from.
Yeah, they can if they get the pitch. If they get a pitch that moves around. If India start well and they play well on day one, I don't think England will have the mental strength to do, if you say, what India did this week. If India get ahead of England, I just don't think England have got it in them really in terms of the skill levels to come back. They'll have to start very well. They'll have to get right ahead of the game like they did at Headingley. I'm led to believe there might be a few clouds around over the weekend in Manchester, which may help the ball swing around. And if the ball's swinging, we know that this England team are going to be very threatening, and we know that this Indian batting lineup, when the ball moves, is still vulnerable. It was proven again this week. But if the ball is not doing a great deal and it's quite flat, well, you'd have to fancy India to win this series.
Right, there we go. I think we're done down here. Some jubilant scenes with a lot of Indian supporters. It's as if the dressing rooms are under siege down here. But it's a beautiful late afternoon. Simon, I shall hand it back to you.
Thank you, Jonathan. We've got about 5 minutes or so, and then we're going to say goodbye. I can see the Bharat Army there dancing away to our right-hand side in the bottom tier of the JM Finn stand, the stand at the Vauxhall end of the ground. They've had a great time this afternoon. I can see plenty of Indian tricolours being waved as well. A memorable day for India. What did Virat Kohli say? He said it more or as special as Lords, and that was a special win for them as well. They really did blow England away on the last day there, and they've eased them aside today. So an Indian victory, no draw, Ebony, in this Test match.
Don't let it go. Don't let it go.
No, I won't. Don't worry. What did they say? He who laughs last.
Yeah,
laughs
well
longest.
done. To be honest, I did not see that spell, the 4 wickets in that short space of time. India are an incredible team, and I think their their bowlers showed on this surface that they have skills that are wider than swinging the ball on a flat surface. They helped you get bragging rights, so well done to them.
Yeah, they were really good, weren't they? I mean, it's excellent from Burma. I mean, sometimes you see an England batting collapse, and they were 100 for no wicket, and they were bowled out for 210. You think, poor shot there, but actually there was some pretty good bowling today from India. There was that sloppy run out, which didn't quite get things going because Burns already been dismissed. But there was the run out involving Malan and Hamid, which I think, a run out always lifts a fielding side.
Yeah, it opened the door, didn't it? And then, I think what it does also, then the fans and the crowd gets lively, then the next batter comes in and feeling a little bit more pressure to stabilise things. And then the roll comes. So India were outstanding, and they look like they have a lot more energy in the tank than England do.
And they might just have a bit more all-round quality as well in terms of their team strength, bench strength as well. And that suggestion, Pujara and Rohit Sharma not playing at Old Trafford, I just can't see that. I mean, they batted out there. They realised how flat this pitch was. The last thing they wanted to do was field for 120 overs after batting for so long. I'm sure they'll be ready for the next Test match. What England needed actually on Saturday was what's happening to the pitch now. It's being hosed down by the groundsman, and that's what England needed on Saturday. A bit of help from this surface. There was none, and India forged ahead. What have you got for results?
Well, some superb stats for India. Just something that's just stands out for me is what a team performance it was in the second innings. 6 of their batters made 40, 4 of their bowlers took 2 wickets. Now, in terms of second innings, a team having 6 batters make 40 and 4 bowlers take 2 wickets, it's only happened once in the entire history of Test cricket. That was for England against Pakistan in Edgbaston in 2016. In terms of India's the rarity of India's win, it's only their second win at the Oval, 50 years after their first in 1971. In terms of overturning a deficit, it's the third highest deficit, 99 runs on first innings, that has been overturned by a touring team to beat England in England. And it's the joint 4th highest deficit India ever overturned to win a Test match. The biggest was the 274, and they won after following on in Calcutta. Bumrah, in his 24th Test, reached 100 wickets, the fastest Indian seamer to reach 100 wickets in terms of matches, second fastest Indian bowler in terms of overs taken, and the best average, 22.7. Rohit's 800, his first outside Asia. Shardul Thakur became the 9th player to score 2 50s, batting at number 8 or lower in a Test match, and made the fastest half-century in England. And in terms of the shape of the game, 15 wickets in the first 87 overs, then 17 in the next 267, and then 10 in just a little over 50 overs, so I think 52 overs at the end. It's been a curious game of multiple phases, and it's the first time India have won a Test after being put into bat and being bowled out for under 200. England's first defeat after putting the opposition in and bowling them out for 200 since 1977 in 15 such games.